What's happening? Andy here. I am joined by Andre Durbano. We are on location at the RISO Communications Center. We're in Woburn, Massachusetts. How are you, Andre?
I'm very well. Welcome. Thanks for making the drive all the way from Rochester this morning.
Not a bad drive. I haven't seen you in a whole week. We were just at BTA last week, and we thought, what a good opportunity. I had a week with nothing to do. Let's come out to RISO and see some of the big iron you guys were showing.
Yeah, learn a little bit about inkjet, of course the duplicator where RISO got its start, so this should be interesting.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a tour. We're going to walk around. We're going to see some machines, and Andre's going to give us the overview and tell us what's happening at RISO. Let's start over here. You want to show me?
Sure. This is where this is where it all started for RISO, is the digital duplicator. You know what's interesting, Andy, is we still get a lot of people asking us, does RISO still sell the duplicator? And very much so. These used to be very popular in the schools. To a certain degree, they still are. But more than anything, you are well acquainted with the arts community. You have a friend, I believe, who is in the arts community who uses a RISO to create magazines and comic books, and there's a whole culture out there called risography.
Yes. Yes, right? Yes. So you actually set up a tour. My friend Phil, he runs an art publication out of Washington, D.C. Now proud owner, I think, of 2 RISO machines after seeing this. But maybe just a quick overview. Could you just tell us what that program is? Sure.
Well, so the technology, the duplicator, is based on static printing. Right? Today, RISO has devices in the duplicator line of products that'll print 2 colors in one pass. Used to be these were a single color experience, but today we can do the 2 colors. In this case, you see the unit with both red and black. These cylinders are interchangeable, so those who have a blue cylinder, a yellow, a green, a purple, so on and so forth, they will interchange the cylinders. Of course, it's still an ink-driven technology, right? You have the ink here. That's what makes the product so affordable, is it's liquid ink and not pulverized toner. And so basically, this is a technology where you have the cylinders rotating round and round, and they're basically with paper going through. Oldest technology known to man. It's basically imprinting the image on the paper going through. And it does this at a very high speed, regardless of the size of paper. So it could be the very smallest envelope to a large 1117 or 12 by 18. This will do so at 150 impressions per hour, or per minute, I should say. 150 per minute. Yeah. And that, as you just saw, that's 1117 at that speed.
Was flying. So it comes straight path, goes right in through this side over here.
It's a straight paper path. It's a wonderful technology, and as I said, there's a lot of graphic artists today that are using it for all sorts of, works of art. It's, let's put it this way, just Google the word risography, and you will see a whole new world of artists out there, a lot of young people who love this technology.
What's very cool, it's all retro prints, and it looks like these placards from like those 70s billboards from concerts, and they're really cool. They make very unique impressions with them. And what I thought was really neat with this is, I remember when I used to sell these back in the day, that you would have one and you would have to, right, you'd pull it out and then you'd put the second color in, so that you could do that. And now you've got space for 2. Do you make machines that have more than 2?
No.
So 2's the limit.
That's where the inkjet device comes in.
You can switch these out to all different colors. You're not just okay.
Sure. So what happens?
How many colors are there?
Well, good question. 72 colors. Okay. And now that we have the red and black, we can literally take a similar image but overprint it with a blue or a yellow, and now you've got kind of a process going on, a CMYK, but you can add a purple to it, so on. And so that's what you get from the artists, is they're overlaying a multitude of colors.
Yes, they layer it, and really just some cool prints and even some neon stuff that they had. And that was a very, very interesting tour back in, when was it, last year? I think we went up in, it was in New York City, right?
That's correct.
And there's one in Tokyo as well?
There is, yeah. But sure, in New York, there's the School of Visual Arts. But so you see, even on our Wall of Fame here, the RISO art wall, where you have some of the work that the young people have done with the technology. And so I guess the message to the dealers out there who wonder about RISO, the duplicator, is it still a popular color or popular product? Not only is it still a popular product, but it's a niche product inside of a community where you will not find a lot of competition. So there's a very unique, a fun opportunity in an engaging atmosphere with artists who are doing this type of work, which is a real switch for your everyday salesperson who's battling it out on CPCs and flipping leases. This is a very different world.
Creative, a lot of creativity, and just to visit that facility was really cool. You had a world-renowned expert, I think, was running that program for
in New York. Yeah. But this is, you'll find these applications in universities, colleges, high schools with arts programs. They've all gravitated from teaching art with offset technology to using RISO as the de facto offset device. And this is how they're learning the wonders of risography.
And so this is the baby at 100 and how fast?
150 a minute. There's actually a single color that does 190 a minute. Okay, so imagine 1117 at 190 a minute.
And so what's a retail for something like that?
You're up around $30,000.
For 100 plus pages.
Yeah. So again, this is the opposite end of the spectrum of the schools who use the smaller RISO duplicators that will sell anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000. That's again.
And these aren't the duplicators I sold. There's no master.
Well, there's a master.
Is there a master?
There's a master on the side.
It's all automated.
It's fully automated.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. You're never touching. You're not creating.
No, it used to be a little messy.
Yes. No. You don't ever see the masters or touch the ink. But from this. With, again, some 25 years ago, the industry going from a static print to digital, RISO evolved to a technology that is still ink. So we stay true to who we were, what we do, which is an ink-based company. We're a technology that is basically allowed a lot of people to save money because ink is economical. Having no heat in a technology is economical. So we transition the technology from static to digital using inkjet. Okay. And so we'll move over this way, right, and look at, go ahead, why don't you stand right there, but this is the FT series, right? This is the smaller of the two RISO series that we have. We'll look at the GL series, which is our production series, in a second here. But the FT is the unit that is designed for light production. This one is equipped, go ahead. Yep. This one is equipped with a saddle stitch device for corner stapling, so this one will print booklets. Again, always in color. These are full CMYK devices. Okay, we have one black and white unit. It's for really specialty applications. The reason inkjet exists is for color. So for all those organizations that are stuck in a black and white world, who go into a print shop and say, we have 1,000 copies that need printing. They're black and white. We're thinking of doing it in color. How much? And when the price is calculated, there's a sense of, oh gosh, we knew it would be more expensive, didn't realize it would be that much more. And so this is where a print shop with a third option, inkjet, which sits in between the mono black and white device and the color toner device, this kind of sits in between, it introduces a third level of pricing. And so now that print shop can say to that customer stuck in a black and white world, we don't have to do it with toner. We can do it with inkjet in color, okay? And it's going to cost you around the same as what the black and white would.
So what kind of customers, where are you finding success for that kind of customer?
So the print shops we deal with are in large part institutional, university, colleges, municipalities, healthcare, different forms of government. And then of course we have the commercial print organizations. Have you checked your mailbox lately? Right? There's a lot of inkjet sitting in your mailbox.
Yes.
And so those are commercial-based organizations that are printing tax bills, phone bills, internet statements, and of course all your direct mail marketing, your Costco stuff, your BJ stuff, all coming in, all inkjet. Have you noticed how it's all inkjet?
I have. There's a lot of it.
It is all transitioned away from toner onto inkjet because it's just a lot more affordable and, dare I say, a lot more profitable for the print shop.
Do you have customers that are printing transactional pieces at that level? Are they able to use it for mailing and direct mail applications?
We have more of those using RISO inkjet today than we do that duplicator that I showed you earlier.
Wow.
So that would be the Vales technology, which we'll show you at the end. But why don't we take a few seconds to move over this way into the GL section of the RISO Communications Center. And we'll start with, I guess we'll start with this unit because this is as close as you're going to get to what the unit looks like out of box, right? This is the GL series, of which we have two. One will print at 160 pages per minute, the other at 140. The two models are the GL9730, which is this one, and its little brother GL7430.
So this is dedicated, this setup is dedicated to envelopes, I can see.
Well, so what we did here, nice catch, is we added a straight shooter envelope feeder. RISOs have been able to print envelopes forever because it's inkjet. There's no heat. And so a substrate that has glue on the backside is typically problematic for technology that is fusing toner onto paper. Enter inkjet, which uses no heat. It's simply spraying the image using inkjet heads onto the substrate. And so we've been printing envelopes forever, starting from the duplicator, continued onto the inkjet, but the application was so successful that we had our print shop saying to us, we love the fact that you can print envelopes, but we don't want to have to keep feeding the envelopes into the tray. And so we sourced a straight shooter to create this envelope feeder. So why don't I get some copies printing here so that we can see how this operates.
So that's an accessory.
That is an accessory.
With a partner company.
With straight shooter, yes.
It's right in there.
Right in.
And now you can fit, I mean, it looks like a massive stack of envelopes, but then you can just keep it running forever as long as somebody keeps feeding those envelopes.
Sure, because you're feeding these envelopes from the top. And so what happens is you can come to the back end, you can remove the envelopes that you printed. Notice the variable data on there and some trans promo.
Yeah,
okay,
they look good.
Yeah, but you can take these envelopes now, you can put them in a box. Meanwhile, you're then coming back over this way, adding more envelopes to the top because it's bottom fed.
So it just never stops.
It just never stops. We're doing about 6,000 envelopes an hour.
Wow.
So the unit itself still has the tray, right? We haven't modified the unit. We're simply taking this envelope feeder, which rolls up or rolls out when you're done. You're now ready to keep using that RISO.
Oh, so that's an easy
as a feeder for paper.
Now you can just pop that in, and now you're doing envelopes. It's not a
so you've got your side guides. You can get some paper and just feed it through there. In fact, why don't we do just that? Because another popular application on the RISO is NCR, right? This is still a very popular application with university implants and a lot of government type implants. The unit itself prints at a speed of 160 pages per minute. That's 9,600 impressions per hour. So the paper can either come out this way or come out up at the top where our feed tray is, our exit tray, right? So really what we're doing here, Andy, is we're taking first of all, you're going to feel it's not hot, right?
Yeah.
The paper's cold. It hasn't warped because, again, there's no heat being applied to it. And so with NCR, a lot of times what we have is customers who want to add numbering to that NCR. And so...
it does a nice job on the small text, too.
Sure, yeah.
Real small.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, NCR's got that backing, right? And typically that could be a problem for devices that are using toner, because the fusing section doesn't like the chemical on the backside of these NCR forms. Again, no heat on a RISO. We can do this all day long. We have one customer in Los Angeles does about 750,000, I think, every 3 weeks or so. Yeah, big volume.
Wow.
These units can handle it. Well, speaking of volume, right, so what you have here now is, again, the same unit, is the GL9730, but accessorized with a 4,000 sheet paper deck, a 4,000 sheet stacker. This is probably a Fiery, okay? This is a RISO made controller if needed. It's a lower end device, but typically it goes out with the Fiery. So here again, we're talking about a technology that is 9,600 impressions an hour. And with the stacker, okay, we now have paper coming either from one of the 3 trays or the 4,000 sheet paper deck through the unit at a very high speed, in color, directly into the paper stacker. This stacker is equipped with a dollies, So once it's full, you can pull it out, walk it over to the finishing area. Some of our bigger units, you'll see where this can happen, where we have double stacker, the Vales, as it continues to print. So again, what you're listening to here is
paper.
2.5 copies a second.
Yeah, flying.
Yeah, that's 160 a minute. So it's fast. We've got customers doing, in some cases, 1 million a month on a device like this.
It's nice and cool over here.
There's no heat.
There is no heat.
Yeah, kind of takes some getting used to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, such as inkjet. Okay?
Yeah.
But now with this, what RISO's done over the years is accessorized the technology with some really unique accessories. Okay? So we'll move over this way, over to my left.
What do we have here? Show me this.
So this, once again, GL9730, very similar to what you saw earlier, same 4,000 sheet paper deck. And don't let that stapler throw you off. That's just a corner stapler. But what we do have is a very unique piece of technology over on this side. This is what we call an envelope wrapper. Okay? And what this will do is it'll take an envelope, which essentially looks like this, right? You have glue over on this side. You can see the pink, the green. Water is applied to that envelope. The inside, which is the variable data, is printed and wrapped into that envelope, and so you get the finished product. And so basically, at no time do you ever have to fold, insert, affix a stamp, lick the envelope, right? So it's a wonderful tool. We have a lot of government institutions.
It's perfectly dry.
Oh yeah, oil-based ink. Right? So we'll touch on that in a second, but we have a lot of government institutions who use this. The fact that you can simply hit a green button, it's blue actually on a RISO, but you can hit that button and you're doing the work of what used to take an offset press for the envelopes. You needed the toner device for the variable data. You needed the inserter folder to marry the two. Now you hit that one button, back away, and the unit does all of this.
And this is your typical peel off the perforated edges, and then you've got your documents inside. Nice and secure.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Very secure, in fact.
One step.
Yeah. No, from a HIPAA perspective, it is very secure. You cannot see what is on the inside unless you open it.
Yeah, that's sealed.
Yeah.
That's sealed. Really cool.
So again, for salespeople out there who are looking for unique application, something that is not super competitive, if every now and then you want to make some serious money with selling a product that has some decent profit in it, here's something that is great for salespeople in the dealer community. You find a customer, again, in government that is mailing out tax statements, water bills, in smaller volumes, right? Because sometimes if you're looking like a city in New York or Philadelphia or LA, they're just going to outsource that type of work. But smaller communities and smaller townships, it's perfect. That's where we have these units.
Very cool.
Okay, so why don't we at this point head over to the granddaddy of them all, the Vales, which is our flagship production device.
All right. What do we see in here?
So Andy, this is what has become an extremely popular technology. This is the Vales T2200, right? This is a technology that will print an output of 320 impressions per minute. So that's like 19,800 an hour. It's essentially 160 sheets of paper duplex simultaneously. So while the RISOs can duplex all day and all night, what we've done with this technology is we've removed the task of duplexing away from the units and given it to this device right here, which is kind of a perfector unit. Okay, so that is where the duplexing is now taking place. And so what happens is you're getting output from, or input from our 8,000 sheet paper deck through the first unit. The paper is then flipped here at a very high rate of speed onto the second unit, and it's essentially printing 160 sheets of paper duplex simultaneously.
So this is two printers harnessed together with almost, I don't know, not an inverter, but a duplexer, I guess, right?
A duplexer, a perfector, sure.
Wow, so amazing. So you've got two machines essentially running in concert.
Correct. So where we had the 4,000 sheet paper deck, everything is double here. We went from a 4,000 sheet paper deck to an 8,000.
Yeah.
We went from 1 unit to 2 units combined. And on the back end, we went from the 1 stacker you saw earlier to a double stacker, 4,000 sheets each. And this is where I mentioned earlier with the dolly system, if one is full, you can get to work on it, pull it out, while the unit continues to feed onto the subsequent stacker. And same with the 4,000 sheet paper deck, which is divided into 4 and 4. That's 8,000. So as one empties out, you can fill the other. So again, we're talking about 160 sheets of paper that are duplexed simultaneously.
Now these are complete beasts of a machine, right? We were talking earlier, I think you said one customer was doing something like, they had multiple machines, each of them were doing over 250,000 pages a day. Was that right, a day?
So we have one customer doing 250,000 per unit, because they have 4 of these, per day. So it's 1 million
doing
a day.
1 million a day on 4 units.
Correct.
And
so that's 5 million a week, 20 million a month.
7+ million pages a month for each machine.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Don't trust my math.
yeah. Well, for 20 million a month, 4 units, it's about 20 or 5 million per unit. So, you know, the thing is, a lot of people look at RISO and they say, inkjet, oh, I like the fact that you can print envelopes. Sure, right? We can do envelopes anytime you want, but they then pigeonhole us into being an envelope solution, where the reality is, this is what we're designed to do. This is where the money is for any salesperson who sells RISO, for any production dealer, production salesperson. This is a really nice way of getting into the production market without having to go head to head with the big names out there on the toner side, okay? Because the alternatives to this type of technology are all at $1 million. Anything remotely close to us, you have maybe Kyocera, right? So that's maybe one direct competitor we have. Epson's way below this level of product, all right? So it's a very unique space. It's limited in terms of competition compared to selling toner production, where, again, you're going up against the Canons, the KMs, the Ricos, the Xeroxes. That's a tough space, especially for a dealer, okay? So, and mind you, there's a lot of dealers who do that successfully.
When you're comparing to that space, right, none of those machines, by the way, have the speeds that this can achieve, right? 320 impressions
No, this
a
is
minute.
among the fastest in the world.
None of them in the price category have the monthly volumes. That they can't support that kind of volume of you know.
Well, this will do 2 to 3 million a month.
250,000 a day. We were just talking about.
Yeah.
So, price-wise, how do they stack up with a xerographic machine? If a customer is looking at one of those other brands, xerography, they're looking maybe 100, 120 a minute. Right, there's obviously some things about it that they like, but what are some of the strengths, this versus that? How does it stack up price-wise, speed-wise, you know?
Sure. So the nice thing about RISO in general is the extensive lineup of inkjet units that we have, from a low of about 25,000 to a high of in and around 250, maybe $300,000 if you load it up with software. But that's it, right? Everything else above this is in that 7-figure range when you get into Xerox, Ricoh, Canon, Konica Minolta.
So 4 times as much.
Absolutely.
To be able to print, and those really don't achieve the same speeds as this, right? They're
those $1 million devices?
Yeah.
Oh, they achieve the speeds.
Do they?
And
okay.
they achieve at that price. They achieve
but
a lot more.
But at 4 times the
too.
cost.
At 4 times the cost. Yeah. So the nice thing is, there's a lot of customers. These are two opposite ends of the inkjet spectrum. Mm-hmm. Okay. There are those that have the volume, the need for what those products can do, and they will invest $1 million into those technologies. But there's a lot more who are new to inkjet. They're just getting into inkjet, or have a smaller unit, want to upgrade. This is where you go. You come to RISO because we can set you up at a $50,000 range, a $100,000 range, a $200,000 or $300,000 range. We have a solution configured to meet whatever budget you may have. And so this is where you certainly start with RISO, but this is where you grow. As I said, we have one customer with, about 3 weeks ago we installed, one customer out west took 3 of these for their print shop. I mentioned the one in Atlanta that's got 4. So a lot of RISO customers have multiple units. And you asked me something about the ink earlier. I said we'd come back to it. The reason why they have multiple units is we use an oil-based ink. Compared to the rest of the industry, which is primarily water-based. Now, when you're using a water-based ink, you need a decurler. You need a dryer. That adds footprint to your device. We don't have any of that. Our ink is oil-based. It is instant dry. The second the print heads will spray that image onto the paper, it'll stick to the fibers of the paper. It is instant dry. So the fact that we don't need those additional accessories means smaller footprint. We're 16 feet. Okay? A Kyocera is 23 feet. When you look at a Canon, a Xerox, they're well over 30 feet, possibly in and around 35 feet. Okay?
That wouldn't fit in here.
No, it wouldn't. No. We need a much bigger room. So we do actually win a lot of bids on footprint alone. And let me tell you something about print shops. Real estate is really important, as you know from your background. So that's the first thing they ask is, how is this going to fit? Where is it going to fit? How much space do I need? 16 feet is all you need. And so when you have 2, 3, 4 of these lined up in a row, it really is a very small corner of that print shop generating a very high amount of output.
Well, when you're selling to print shops, I noticed this one looks like a regular controller. I saw Fiery around here. What kind of options do you have for the controllers? Because now you're getting into an area, right, where they like to have, there's different needs, variable data and some, and what kind of options do you have at this level?
This is a different animal. This is the Alpha Stream. It's manufactured by a European company called Tag G. They've been doing this for RISO and other companies for many years. That is a powerful device right here, designed to manipulate a lot of data with the speed we're printing here. And the volumes that we're printing, these are a lot of statements, invoices, with a lot of zip codes and names and addresses, and that thing right there is manipulating all that information so that the RISO doesn't have to do any thinking. That does all the brain work. The RISO is merely generating output as fast as it can. So it really is a nice
So it's funny
marriage.
because I know people really associate you guys with working just big, heavy, robust hardware, right? But it's this stuff that turns it into that next level, that next gen, where okay, now we've got the big heavy iron that can support the volume, but you've got to create the jobs, and whether it's you need ticketing, whether you need the variable data, or some of the other stuff that this version has. It definitely makes the devices more usable, right?
Sure.
Across the board for. So how many different controllers are available for the Vales?
Well, so the Vales we use strictly the Alpha Stream, and yes, if you can say Pegasus, you can say Vales.
Okay.
Don't ask me what Vales means. That's a whole other story in itself.
All right, that's the next interview.
By the way, this technology is so successful. It's become so successful. This space. Okay, that $200,000 to $300,000 space has become so popular where inkjet is concerned that we had a request from our customers. They wanted these accessories, but they didn't necessarily need the twin units. So this is the T12 2200. We're this month, September 2023, introducing the T1200, which we don't have on the floor yet, but if you can see this, you can see what a T1200 will be. It's basically these two plus the one unit and the 8,000 sheet.
Just shorten it up a little.
Yeah, shorten it up a little. So whereas, again, this configuration is anywhere from 250 to 300, the T1200 will be around 150,000. So a little bit more affordable that way. And we can see we already have orders for multiple units from one customer. Again, this is a technology that they tend to fill their print shops with it. You cannot run a print shop with no ink on your floor. You need some ink. Now, either you have an offset, and if you lost the offset or your pressman retired, you turn to a technology like this, which is ink, but on a digital platform.
Automated.
That anybody
Everything's,
can use.
yeah, you don't need to have somebody with the qualifications that you needed to run a press 20 years ago.
So when we talk about, we were at BTA last week.
Yeah.
Very successful event, once again, by the BTA group. Lots of dealers there. And every dealer is looking to diversify. They're all looking for an angle. They're looking for something different. They're all talking about production, but they know how challenging the toner production world can be. And they're looking at RISO for a couple of reasons. Number one, we don't really sell direct. We don't have branches. We don't have direct sales. We are a dealer operation. 95% of our sales come from our distribution channel. 5% from customers who say, no, we only want to deal with the manufacturer. So a very small percentage there. So we are a company that is designed for dealers, the dealer community, so they would never have to compete against a direct RISO. And number two, you and I were talking about this earlier, how the technology is such a nice complement to the toner devices that dealers sell. Dealers sell RISO in addition to their copier business, not instead of. You rarely find yourself in a situation where as a salesperson you need to decide, gee, do I sell them toner or do I sell them inkjet? This is always in addition to.
Yeah.
So it's a way for a salesperson at the dealer level to open some new doors, competitive doors that were in the past shut close to you. Because they're using some other competitive product. This gives you a chance to get in there with a slightly different type of technology. Some dealers are using RISO defensively to protect their fleet of production toner devices, because they are all at risk of being replaced by a monster inkjet technology device, right? So they will, for that customer who has 10 of your toner devices, and they say, well, we're kind of thinking inkjet here. You say, got just what you need. How many do you want? 1, 2, 3. We can keep the toner devices here, place the RISOs over in that corner, and you'll have everything you need in terms of inkjet, even the ability to do envelopes and NCR, not just the high volume that this will do. Mm-hmm. So it's a great way for a dealer to either expand into new revenue generating opportunities or to protect their fleet of production devices.
Very cool. Well, big iron is one of the trends right now. A lot of dealers are taking a look at that. A lot of dealers are trying to move upstream a little bit because of the number of clicks that customers in that arena, in that market, make on a monthly basis, and everybody wants to get their share. This is a clever way to get into it, right? You've got the ability to get huge gobs of volume, even if your main brand, your main OEM doesn't carry xerographic machines in that category. But even if they do, to your point, complementing your toner portfolio with something that's unique and probably not available from any of your competitors, it's worth taking a look at. These things are absolute beasts. They run like crazy. We're going to post some videos of them spitting out some more envelopes and more paper, but they're just, you can feel it when they gear up and start spinning out some of that volume, that they're very robust machines.
I'm really happy that you took the time to come and see this in person. You and I have been doing interviews a couple of times a year for several years now. The fact that you made the effort to get into your car, drive all the way from Rochester to Boston. We're about 20 minutes north of Boston here in Woburn, Massachusetts, to see this live and in person. Speaks a lot about your dedication to the industry and the fact that you're constantly looking to be knowledgeable, because dealers do speak to you and they ask you about this stuff. So now you've seen it live and in person. So I really appreciate that.
I would highly recommend get in touch with your RISO rep if you haven't gone down this path before, or maybe if you haven't in a while. It's the technology is very impressive. You don't have anything in your demo room that does what these machines do. So give Andre a call, give Bobby a call. Really thank you very much for taking me through this. This was quite a treat. Thank you.
Pleasure.